EA has laid off developers across multiple Battlefield studios. 5 months ago, Battlefield 6 had the biggest launch in franchise history, selling 7 million copies in just 3 days, becoming the best-selling game of 2025, and hitting a massive 747,000 peak players on Steam. According to IGN, EA has laid off an unknown number of developers across the Battlefield teams. This includes staff from several studios involved with Battlefield 6, Criterion, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Motive Studios. Looks like they go on to say that all 4 studios are still operational, and EA says these layoffs are part of a realignment as the teams continue supporting Battlefield 6's live service. So the thing that stands out to me about this is that we don't know how many people it actually is. Is it 20 people, 50 people, 100 people, more? It may not be as serious as it sounds. It could be extremely serious. Again, we don't know. I think over time we'll find out how much this is going to play a part in affecting Battlefield. But anytime you hear layoffs like this, it's definitely not a good sign, a little concerning. Those that are impacted by this, I genuinely wish them the best and hope they can move on as quickly as possible. IGN does go on to say following Battlefield 6 launch has been a bit rocky. The game has struggled from patch to patch. The community has raised concerns about several different things. Some of the complaints from the players include heavy monetization, the use of a generative AI for in-game cosmetics, and fewer content updates than players expected. Not happy with what we're getting with the content there, but moving on. Another thing worth mentioning is a change in the player numbers. At launch, Battlefield 6 hit an incredible 747,440 peak concurrent players on Steam. Now it's sitting at about the tens of thousands. I think around 67,000 peak concurrent players, which is, when you look at that, the amount of players that have left the game, the declining player numbers, plus the community criticism, and then now just recently the layoffs. Yeah, it definitely raises some questions about where things are going to go from here. Now, me personally, I'm enjoying Battlefield 6. I know Battlefield 6 has more of a Call of Duty style vibe to it. You look at the maps, it's more infantry kind of focused, fast, time to kill type vibe. There is some fixes, I think, for the gameplay in terms of the sync issue where you dive behind cover and stuff. And I've seen that happen to me. I've actually killed an enemy that was running away and he got behind cover and then died. So it's like there's some sync issue where what you see and what your enemy sees is not correct. So I think they're working on that. The weapon bloom I'm not a fan of it. It's still an issue. I mean, I was ADSing a guy and the shots weren't hitting and I was aiming all over him. It's just kind of annoying. So I think knowing that that's going to get addressed at some point, the gameplay, that's not really my biggest concern right now. It's the amount of content that we're getting each season. And I actually compared Battlefield 1's DLC model to Battlefield 6's live service. And when I started looking at the numbers, it was kind of interesting. Battlefield 1 released DLC packs around every 5 months. And what I found was that what they offered in those DLCs was very consistent. Because on average, each Battlefield 1 DLC included 5 maps, 7 weapons, 4 gadgets, 3 vehicles, and 2 game modes. Now, if we look at that for Battlefield 6, now we know Battlefield 6 is 3 months long for the seasons, so obviously a shorter, timeline by 2 months. So if we adjust that timeline to fit Battlefield 6, then we should be getting 3 to 4 maps per season instead of getting the 2 maps per season. Weapons are pretty much on par with Battlefield 1. But when we look at the other stuff, the gadgets, the vehicles, the game modes, it's wildly inconsistent, and you never know what you're getting from season to season. And the inconsistency is definitely not helping. On the topic of the limited time game modes, the fear of missing out type thing is not really, in my opinion, going to keep players coming back to the game. And I think really the most interesting thing that I found when comparing Battlefield 1 to Battlefield 6 was that Battlefield 1 had way more content than that of Battlefield 6 seasons so far. That's pretty interesting. So I think for me, the real test looking at this is going to be season 3. If season 3 can come out with more content and just keep fixing the game, I think Battlefield 6 looks very promising. But if season 3 ends up being the same amount of content as season 2, then I think we're in serious trouble with Battlefield 6. I mean, it's kind of bringing up Battlefield 5 memories of that. So hopefully it doesn't come to that. But I think really the real challenge for EA and Battlefield Studios right now is trying to figure out how to increase the amount of content while still supporting the game with fixes and updates. Now, having said all this, I'm still really enjoying Battlefield 6. I think the gameplay is fun. The battles are starting to feel like classic Battlefield again. I mean, there's definitely a lot more potential here. So hopefully EA and Battlefield Studios can find that balance soon before it's too late. But I'm curious what you think. Has Battlefield 6 done enough to keep bringing you back? Or do you feel like Battlefield 6 needs to do more? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy Battlefield content like this, consider subscribing. I've got more Battlefield videos coming soon, hopefully ones that are more happier themed. And as always, I'll catch you on the battlefield.